Maybe we'll just go. Here we go. Hail, hail. The Celtics are here and we're live. With Goalkeeper rebranded and back. And we're matching. And I'm obviously Quinny, your host. And today, guys, we're live for the latest edition of the Sorare CSC here on The Celtics Are Here. These are joining us, obviously, from everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the places. Get involved in the live chat and let us know your thoughts and feelings on everything as we're getting stuck into it today. We do have some cards to give away from the last stream, so I'll get the tab open and we'll go and pull those winners out because they all entered by commenting on the last stream, and we'll go and pull out those winners and we'll get them sorted out as well. So we'll have a wee bit of a giveaway reveal today as well. But I think, Magorka, the talk of the town at the moment, I've lost my voice. I was in a parade, 2 trebles in one season. But the talk of the town at the moment is Brendan Rodgers. So I think we'll start the show off if I can just pass it to you with how do you feel on the current lay of the land as we find it?
Aye. It's an unusual one, because when we started hearing about Brendan, then you're thinking back to what happened when he left, and yeah. But I mean, if you look at it, I think he's an outstanding candidate for the job. So what we've maybe forgotten is, he won a treble in the season where he's gone invincible, undefeated, all that type of stuff. And yeah, I mean, you think back to what Ange did, we weren't in good shape when Ange came in. He's moved us forward, lost the first 6 games. Talk about being sacked by Christmas. He got the recruitment right, and then he's got the style of play right. And when I think back to Brendan Rodgers coming in, I think he raised a lot of the standards at the club. A EPL standard manager coming in, and he improved us. So yeah, like my only memories are of when he sneaked out the door, out the side, the back door, whatever door he went out. But when you think back, there were some things there, I think, which triggered him a bit as well. Like we were trying to sign Castagna, and we ended up getting Jeremy Toljan on loan, and I think he was there when the McGinn thing happened, so we want McGinn. We want McGinn, and we're haggling over the price, and McGinn goes to England, and now he's playing the EPL, and so there's a lot of things happened, and I think that the club's in better shape. I think if we get him in and we back him, which I think we were going to back Ange, I think there's money there, so I think if we do that, I think he can do well. So yeah, I'm coming round to it. There's still this thing in my head saying he's snaked his way out. Everybody refers to him as a snake, but I would take him, honestly. I think, like, based on who we've got on offer and stuff just now, I think if Celtic want me, he wants to come, then I think we'll just need to go over whatever we feel. What do you think?
Yeah, I said on the flagship podcast last week with Stephen, but like there will be a little bit in my soul that's missing until 10 in a row is done, and I do put him front and center of all that, and hate me for it or whatever, but like I say, even if he gets the job, wins a couple, gets back on as if nothing happened, I'm sure I'll enjoy it and have a good time. But there'll be a wee bit of me, and I'm just putting it out there. It will be there. It'll probably in most Celtic fans. And I said it earlier on Twitter, McBride. Like, if he is going to come back to Celtic, he has to have the attitude, like you see behind us on screen. He has to have the attitude of coming back here and building getting a trophy at the end of it. Not a trophy, I beg your pardon, a statue outside the stadium. Like, he's already won a quadruple treble, and there's nowhere near the adulation for him that really deserves. Like, if Martin O'Neill done that, or many other people, like, they would be lauded, undoubtedly. Like, we pause to put people in the breath of Melees and Steens and all the rest of it, but like, if O'Neill won a quadruple treble, an invincible one at that as well, like, it wouldn't even be questioned. It would be part of that, So
I think we've forgotten all that, because I'm thinking of him even when he was at Leicester. You were kind of, it was the anti-sweat, wasn't it? Like, I hope they get beaten. That type of stuff. Like, I wasn't really that bothered if they win, but if they lost, I was like, yeah, it's made my weekend to get pumped. But you look at all the different options. I think you've got. I like the guy Knutsen at Bodo. I thought he was a good candidate, and obviously he's not going to Ajax. There was other candidates there. Obviously, talk about guys like Moyes. Didn't think he was ever going to really leave West Ham. I think he's doing a pretty good job down there. Won a trophy, obviously, so that kind of goes without saying. I think after Ange as well, I think my perception's changed. We've had all the chest beating, and we think that because we're Celtic fans, these guys come in and all of a sudden they're they love the club maybe as much as we love the club, and sometimes they do love the club, but they're still quite happy to move on for their career. Whereas if me or you get the Celtic job, Quinn, you'd be like, all right, I'm here until I'm kicked out at last order.
But did we not think we got that with Rodgers first time around? He's an elite coach Celtic fan. Like, he was the pinnacle, young up and coming manager, like that, away from winning the Prem, kind of fell in a rough spot. We were in a rough spot, kind of. It all made sense. It all worked out perfectly. And it was marching towards history together. And, I've got the comment on screen here from Jamie. And I'm sure we can go into the minutiae of it, and you'll probably know more of the details on decision making and certain things. Obviously, some of the stuff me and McGawk are talking about already is kind of public, like the McGinn thing and whatever. But, I don't claim to know all the facts of the exact situation, but I do look at, and even in the situation, if he's maybe handcuffed by the board, again, if it was me, I can only sit here as a Celtic fan with wide eyes and say I would never do that. And I can't stop myself from it. So I'm sorry.
I think he just felt like he couldn't really, it's kind of one of those weird things where you achieve things and you think, what's the goal here? Do I want to just do that again, or do I realise that my stock's as high as it's going to be? And obviously for somebody like that, he's come from England, he's had a crack at it down there, and he fancied that he could go back again. I think he did say in one of the interviews, maybe a year after he left, he was asked, would you go back to Celtic? And it was a quite I definitely would go back type answer. So whether or not he was just leaving the door open, who knows? But he's a big personality. If anybody can carry off coming back after what's happened, after leaving at that point, then I think it'll be him. But also he did, I think we were 8 points clear when he left. We'd won a cup and we were still in the Scottish Cup. So he didn't leave us completely in the lurch. But when he did leave, I felt as if, if he'd have stayed, you were feeling assured that those things were going to come in. And for a while you were worried. You were thinking, Lennon's obviously managed the club before and all that sort of stuff, but will he be able to overcome that, or will it destabilise us? Are we going to risk not winning those things? So, but I mean, if we look at his football and ethos, I remember one of my things I remember playing Man City, and Man City were brilliant. We played them in the Champions League, and they were hammering everybody, and we came out and we pressed them, and there was a game Moussa Dembele scored overhead kick, we drew 3 each, and sounds a bit defeatist, but we're playing against a top class team, and we got a great performance, and we were kind of, after that, English clubs took that blueprint and started pressing them and started being less afraid of them and started getting results against Man City. So he did a lot of good things with Celtic. He never really done anything of note in Europe, but if he comes in now with this squad that we've got here, the one thing I will say is he comes in, he's not going to tolerate Celtic saying, oh, well, thanks very much for coming in, but Hatate and Kyogo are away to Spurs. If he's coming in, he'll be saying, like, I want to come in with a strong squad and I want to build on it, because that's what he wanted to do before, right? He wanted to buy guys like Castagna, 8 million. He doesn't want to come in and the squad gets ripped apart. So I think if we make that statement in 10 and maybe we only lose one player or whatever for a good fee, we keep the squad together, then I'd be quite happy. What do you think?
I'm forgetting the details of it. I'll answer you on that, and I want to kind of pick up what I said a second ago, and just because I'm seeing a lot of comments around it as well. But I can't remember all the details. But when Rodgers came in last time, Stefan Johansson was definitely a big part of the team, and he was like a key guy that left under, that was right. That was the kind of right thing to do. That was a wee bit of a different situation. And there was maybe, and I've not got the squad in front of me at the time, but I dare say there's a few more players like that made room for Sinclair Dembele and, the other guys that he brought through himself, So again, if it was like, if it's only 2 key guys, I don't think that's really out the realms of the plan anyway, that you may be selling a guy or 2. So I don't know, it needs the backing, like if these guys are going, there needs to be more than enough to replace them and do whatever else he wants to do with the squad. But like, to come back to like the legacy thing, basically, like if he is going to come back here, like money cannot be the motivation. The only thing that can be the motivation is, like, I don't even like the word redeeming, but I think it's more like, actually getting over the line, the legacy that, the man really should have for the work he put in.
Yeah.
Aye, that's probably the biggest part of it, whether he was to stay here for 8 seasons or something crazy like that, of course, is highly unlikely, but something to at least, I was thinking about it driving on one of the trips to Manchester over the last day or so, and if, like, for example, right, Ange's won, we've done back to back. Imagine Rodgers did come in, and then imagine he stayed for like 2 or 3 seasons, and then something else happened like it did last time, right? And we're then halfway, say we won like 5 leagues, and then we've got nice, for Ange and then Rodgers to put their handprints on it, depending if it did go the full way. Like, maybe that could be remembered quite well in the history books, if that makes sense, because we did love Ange at the beginning, and he was like maybe like a kind of a birth of a period, if that makes sense. So I think that's the kind of thing Rodgers has to be thinking about. And I don't know if it might just be paper talk, right? Who knows? The Leeds offer, I see comments coming in, people saying he wouldn't go to the Championship and whatever, right? But if they're getting mad money, the mad Italians just sold them to some mad Americans. So these people have got mad money. And if they want to throw, Brendan Rodgers, I heard somebody say it on our podcast or a live stream, it might have been the Boise Bus or something like that, but it was like Rodgers, when he went to Leicester from us, he was like the top 4 paid managers in the league or something. You know what I mean? The Liverpool deal wouldn't have been too bad. The Celtic deal wasn't pennies. And, if he goes to Leeds or Celtic this time again, he's definitely not going to be light on cash. So I don't see how cash can be really is deciding factor in it. So if he is sounding them out, it really does annoy me, and it really does distance me from wanting him back in or accepting him in any level back in. But it might just be paper talk,
He's a free agent, but I mean, if you imagine, right, if you're a player and you've got an agent or whatever, say you're Moussa Dembele, then you say to your agent, well, see what's out there for me, or get me some offers or whatever, So I don't know. I mean, like, I wouldn't believe everything that's in the paper. So for me, if Celtic want him, if they have talks with him and he says, I want to come, then I think that's enough. And like when we're talking about the money side of things, the club can take care of that. But I think we're in a really good financial situation now because we got 5 million compensation or whatever it is for Ange, and we're in the Champions League, and he's delivered a lot from that point of view. 2 Champions League back to back, guaranteed group stage money, buying guys who have a higher resale value than what he's paid for them. Better age profile. We're linked with a guy, Odin Holm. It might be a done deal, 2.5 million, 20, top talent in Norway, good recruitment. So it sounds as if there's still a good sort of vision of recruitment. It's not like we'll wait a couple of weeks and get a manager in. It's like, no, we want this guy. This guy's good. Bring him in as part of the squad. So I know there can be a risk with that as well. But 2.5 million, the guy's 20, and I had, it's a guy I had heard of as well. It's not saying he was on my radar or whatever, but I'd looked him up, thought maybe on Sorare might have a card, and obviously only cover Rosenborg. So it's definitely somebody I'd heard of. So yeah, I mean, like, I think we've just got to keep moving forward. And if it's Brendan, then I'd be interested to see how he handles it. But I think he's got a personality where he can handle it. He is one of those guys who's got a bit of a brass neck, right? So he'll just sit there and say, "Oh well, that's what it is," and and he'll say what he says, and he'll get on with it, and people will get behind him. I think,
I think one of the things I kind of hold on to from the perspective I've taken over the next manager is, like, Rodgers brings that Premier League football department with him that he yanked out the club last time and took to Leicester with him. So if we bring him back, that's maybe part of the negotiations as well. There is an entourage there. There's like 12 people that will come back to the club. You know what I mean? And it's like I said, it's a football department. So like it's as I say, Celtic, Rodgers, it can't be about money. It has to be about the team. It has to be about the club, and it has to be about moving on. There was a great question earlier about Greg Taylor and inverted fullbacks, right? I think Greg Taylor, we all don't really fancy him that much as a defensive left back, but I think we're writing him off very quickly that how much he's improved over the last 2 years. Like, it's not just that he's a one-trick pony and he can only play inverted fullback, like he's doing a magic trick or something. He's became better over the last 2 years as well. So, I don't think that gets factored into it enough. But one thing I did want to throw at you, McBride, on this note of who could be the winners in the squad if Rodgers came in, the one I want to throw at you first of all is Jota. Imagine that Scott Sinclair role in a Rodgers team.
Yeah. I think that would suit him. I mean, what was his preferred formation? I mean, he was quite keen on possession football and stuff. But what was his preferred formation we played before? Was it 4-3-3 he played before? Was it?
He really liked Forrest in spells. Forrest sang a good song for him or two. Obviously, Sinclair, Dembele, Edouard in spells.
So Paddy Roberts there as well playing.
Paddy Roberts, of course. Yep.
Paddy. I mean, I think obviously Ange's style was more sort of pressing game. We never stop, all that type of stuff. good on the ball, that type of stuff as well. But with Rodgers, obviously he liked to keep the ball, liked to play out. But in fairness, I don't think there's as big a difference from the style as what you could have with other managers, because I think he did like the press as well. Particularly we played these teams in the Champions League like Man City. He liked a kind of pressing game, so I think it's a pretty good fit. I think he's got the tools in the squad to play however he wants as well. Like, there's guys there that you look at Turnbull, he was never really an Ange type player, right? But he's the type of guy where under a high possession based type manager, where he is a good footballer, he'd be frustrating, but his output or whatever is actually pretty good. So I'm not saying he will stay or whatever, but there could be guys like that just kind of, you think they've not really had a look in under Ange, all of a sudden they might get a chance. But I think if you keep the core of that squad together, I think it'll be quite suitable for playing under Brendan. Like, I don't see anybody that's really a huge issue there. Like, even like guys like Alistair Johnson coming in, he's a good footballer and he's really solid, and he's a good personality. He's a character. I always put him up for interviews. He's always he's well liked in the squad, fans and all that sort of stuff. So I think there's a lot of there's quality in the squad. There's international type players, guys playing with their own international teams, and there's guys who are winning things. So if we can keep that together and then add to it, let's not think about just keeping it together. Let's think about, are we going to be able to go and spend 7, 8 or 9 million and rather than buying 4 or 5 players that we have had to at some point bring in like squad revolve and all that sort of stuff, just say, well, we just add a guy for 8 or 9 million who we think's really top quality, that type of thing. So we've not seen the budgets or whatever there, but I think that we've got the money there to make a kind of statement, because you touched on it one of the previous pods. I think like you had that thing where we didn't know where we were getting in the Champions League, and you had qualifiers, and you went into Champions League qualifiers with Beaton playing at the back, and you would get beat 4-2 by Astana, and you're like, oh, what's going on? But the board didn't seem willing to say, right, let's get that £5 or £6 million player in, make sure we're in the Champions League. Whereas now you can just put down the money and you can attract a quality player and just say, right, we want you in, and we can bring you Champions League football. So I think that's a good selling point as well. And Rodgers, obviously, is this an emergency broadcast? No, emergency broadcast brought to you by Goalkeeper and Quinny. Rodgers is a well-known name as well. I think he's somebody who can actually attract a good quality player as well. If he's talking to somebody, he's about to bring you here, then he'll hopefully attract a good standard of player there. So
agreed. Yeah, definitely. And again, maybe that's part of the thing as well, is that where does Rodgers shop for players? Where's the club been shopping? And it's maybe a wee bit of that. Again, part of the worry of this whole next manager search is what is the actual transfer strategy for this summer? Who would we actually go and sign now? Because I dare say anyone we're looking at in the J League, lines of communication will probably be now a lot weaker.
The cat's out the bag on that now as well. That's why I like we're looking at this guy from Norway, because if you go and look at a £2.5 million player in the J League now, they're probably going to become a £4 or £5 million player now, aren't they? They've got to get wise to their kind of underselling in terms of value and all that sort of stuff. And even guys like Ito, he's moved to STVV and stuff. So there's guys there that have already been bought up by other clubs and stuff. So I think you've got to stay agile with that. I mean, it might be just there was a good generation come through at Frontale with Hatate and Matoma and guys like that as well. And, there was some talent there. Jason RIP the dream of Kuryo Matsuki to Celtic. Yeah, but I mean, there's definitely still talent there in Japan. And obviously, if you look at Benfica and Sporting and stuff, they buy guys from say Brazil or whatever, or South America, Argentina. But we can't always do that in terms of work permits and everything as well. So you've got to be kind of selective in terms of who you can buy. But I mean, with his buying Bernabei, I don't think it's worked out brilliantly so far. I think he's got potential, but that type of market, Argentina, there's a lot of good young players in Argentina and stuff as well. But getting the manager right is going to be key here. I don't want like the more I think about guys like Maresca, I mean, I'm sure he might do well, but it's a big risk. Whereas with Rodgers, you just kind of feel as if the only risk is the fans aren't going to like what happened. You know that he's a good manager. So
yeah, I hope. Yeah, I think you're right there. There's not too much actual. You would think anyway going into the situation. There's not too much like on pitch risk in that sense. I think there's probably, if we did go through the entire squad from top to bottom, there's probably like more players that would suit the team, and there's no real urgency. Like this guy doesn't fit in anymore, or this guy doesn't suit the system, or he's not going to get enough minutes to keep him happy anymore, or whatever it might come to. But there will be players like that. And when I see the report today, the one I retweeted, it says that Celtic's position from an ITK account or whatever, a report or what, I can't remember the exact origin, but you can go and find it on Twitter. And it says Celtic are in no rush, and that just made my blood boil. Why are they in no rush? We're guaranteed group stages. We've got so much business to probably sort out. A lot of, who knows, right? But I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 players are potentially on the fence right now with what they're doing at Celtic. Are they staying, or are they going to move to fucking Fulham or whatever? They're going to do.
Maeda said that is. Maeda made a weird comment about Ange made me think that I could move to a higher level, and it's like, well, hope you've not been watching your recent performances, pal, because you've been rubbish. But maybe Maeda sometimes, like that brilliant moment, obviously against Rangers, just a wee swivel right into Jota, and he's had some great moments, but he's had loads of moments where he's nearly decapitated somebody in Rose Ed as well. So yeah, he's still improving, obviously. But I think if with guys like that, if somebody comes in and said, like Southampton been relegated now, that was the link, but say they did come in with 10 million or whatever, you'd be half tempted, I think, to move them on. But there's still loads of quality in the squad, and we are in a good position. We're in a really good financial position, and sorry, I talk about Rangers and all that sort of stuff, but say Rangers are signing Sam Lammers, they've signed Butland, signed the guy from Norwich. None of them really worry me in any way. Like, I'm not looking at any of them and thinking that's a really good signing. Cantwell, as much as you ridicule him, we knew him from the EPL and you maybe did have a bit of quality about him and stuff, but I don't think really I'm that concerned about who Rangers are signing. Obviously, they probably still hammer every other team in Scotland or whatever, and we'll need to do the business, but it doesn't concern me. So I think we've just got to get our own business right. And you're right about the urgency. I mean, obviously, it's 13th of June just now. We're in the pot for the Champions League, so we don't need to worry about qualifiers, but we do need to get guys back. We do need to get the new manager in and
do business, do pre-season. You know what I mean? Get them training ASAP, man.
Yeah.
I think I heard somewhere as well the transfer window officially opens tomorrow, might be Thursday, but like it's like imminent, So there's going to be all sorts of business that would need to be done, and like you say, it could be any number of players. Maybe if they don't like, if Brendan Rodgers comes in, maybe the whole squad is like, I'm up for saying if he wants me to stay. Maybe one or two guys go, nah, I'm quite happy to take a move still, and that's fine. It's one or two guys out the door. Keep everyone else, replace them, do your thing with the squad, with the transfer funds that are there. Work it through pre-season, no qualifiers, run in the league, get to the group stages firing, and let's just go onwards and upwards,
Yeah, we say it's Brendan and we want to buy somebody for 8 to 10 million or whatever, but he's only going to be able to judge that once he comes in and see what he's got in the squad as well, right? So before he makes a decision about this is somebody maybe I want to move on, this is the way I want to play, this is the balance of the squad I want, he's got to actually get in amongst working with the players. Now, obviously, he might still have been watching Celtic a wee bit. I think he was pictured at one of the games. He was actually up in the gods sitting watching or whatever. So maybe the one
semi-final, I think.
Yep. So, and people were wondering, is that him trying to work his way back in and all that stuff? But so maybe he has still been watching us, but he'll not have been watching us with the same level of analysis as you need as if you're going to be the actual manager. Like, so, aye. I think we need to get the business done soon. I think also for a point of view of Ange, maybe it has actually been a bit of a surprise to Celtic and stuff as well. I mean, here, obviously, we'd offered him a new deal and stuff. We don't want to talk about him forever, but maybe we've just been caught in the back foot a wee bit with the speed at which he's left after winning, But, we've got to move on now. We've got to get somebody in. If we get somebody in soon, I think it's okay because you've got the international games, right? So you've got Starfelt, McGregor, guys like that. They're all away to play with their international teams. So what you need is you want a manager in for the players coming back. That's what you want, don't you? So, who signed the young midfielder from Vålerenga. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure when Celtic signed Haksabanovic and Ange was signing guys like Hatate, that Haksabanovic was probably just on a scouting list or whatever at Celtic. I mean, obviously the manager's going to have an influence in that, but at the end of the day, a scouting team's going to come along and say, we've identified this guy. We think he's really good. He's available at the right price. So, if he's good and he's a talent and he's 20, then why not just buy him? That would be my view on it. But there we go. It might be something they've been working on for a while, So
yeah, I think that's quite reassuring about the transfer business is that even through Ange, there has been that quite clear, like still that kind of footprint of whatever the club has been working on anyway. In terms of relationships have been building, perhaps because we did have like 3 deals with Kazan or something when no one was doing deals with Russia, which was mad when you think about it now, I suppose. But so yeah, I wouldn't suspect that kind of stuff is afoot. But I think a lot of that stuff will be pending, because one of the rumors that I've seen, I want to say this now about the squad, right? I don't think Kyogo's quotes were. I've heard Kyogo's agent from some of these again people you come across out there. Apparently, Kyogo's agent's been talking to the Bundesliga since February or something, in terms of just some clubs over there. Asian players in the Bundesliga tends to work out pretty well. That wouldn't really surprise me in general. Hatate, to be honest with you, see if it's not Brighton, I don't really see many teams coming for Hatate. I think it'll be very expensive and quite unproven to a lot of teams, if you know what I mean. I think for you to buy Hatate out of Celtic, you need to be really convinced on him, which obviously we all are as fans. But from outside of the club, there's that takes more to really convince a scout or a team to go and spend millions of pounds on you, So I don't think, unless there's a pure sweetheart club out there that are like, oh, we're spending this amount of money on Rio, then I'm not too worried about him or Jota. Abada's one of the ones, but mate, because as well, how young he is, how his quality his stats are on paper, etc. And to some of these teams, that's just Moneyball. They'll just cool. We'll pay Celtic 10 million, whatever that is, and we'll sell him later for 50. Because the numbers now are so raw and so good. And because he's so young, I think maybe there's a chance of him moving. But when I seen the links for O'Reilly, I think he's one that I'm not too sure about. I don't think he's done enough this season to have lots of suitors out there. But equally, I do think it's very easy to look at him and say he's top shelf. He's clearly a top shelf player. What do you think about those kind of situations of those guys? How do you feel?
I mean, well, obviously Moy really kind of finished the season quite a few injuries and stuff in. There's these rumours about the back injury. He did look as if he was struggling. So he obviously
retiring.
Nah. Well, until that actually is confirmed or what, you wouldn't really rule it out. I thought he was here until next season, but I think it was more one of those situations where maybe it could be extended. I don't know. But I mean, for the point of view of O'Reilly, I think he's one I definitely want to keep for at least another season. I think Abada, although he was really good coming off the bench, he's kind of one of those guys maybe where he's getting a wee bit frustrated as to why he wasn't starting as well. Because Maeda was a bit of a favourite of Ange's, right? So you had a lot of Maeda and Jota sort of starts at certain points. So, it's that type of thing. But I mean, we have got a pretty big squad of good players, I would say, still, and I think you can lose one or two as long as you replace them with quality. But what really stuck in my mind at the end of the season was when we started rotating and leaving guys out and everything. All right, the intensity maybe dropped a wee bit, but also the performance level really dropped too. So I really don't think you can afford to lose Vickers and Jota and Hatate and stuff and just still play as well. Really missed Hatate when he was out injured, and I felt as if we did. I just felt as if we weren't playing as well. And then he came back 2-0 at Hearts, and then we were rubbish. But then that game against Aberdeen, it was full steam ahead, get everybody out, flag day, and we were great, and we were just straight back on it. So yeah, I think O'Reilly, I think will stay, especially if Moy is struggling. And if he does go, then what are you going to do? Are you going to play Turnbull in that position, or are you just going to bring a couple of players in? Is this guy Holmes? He more of a attacking player, but he's only 20s. He's a risk, from that point of view. So I would want to make sure we keep O'Reilly. And with Jota and stuff, I was surprised people are not interested in him. I mean, I think he's been brilliant. He's been really good, and he's one of those guys where he can beat somebody and he gets a chance, you think he's going to score that. And there's other guys, like even sometimes runs where Abada and Maeda and they get through and you think, you don't know if he's going to score that, but with Jota, you think he will score that. So I think he's got a lot of quality about him. So there'll be people circling, but, are they going to pay the huge money for them that Celtic want to move them? Exactly. Maybe Celtic will say no. And again, I said it earlier, if we get Rodgers in, he's not the type of guy that's going to come in and say, yeah, that's fine, you go, you further your career. He's more one of those guys that say, no, you're under contract, you're staying here, you're playing with me, I've come here to do well type thing. So if he does that, then I think that's good. Because I was just my worry was we would get ripped apart, right? Like you just lose like 3 or 4 good players and then you're just loads of money, but you're starting again and you've lost what's been good about the team for 2 seasons. So
I do think that's a genuine worry if we were to get in a tier 4 operator of some description. Like, see some of these candidates we are getting linked to that are like, I don't know, mate. See, when I see we're linked to Daniel Farke as well, and we're talking to him, and I'm like, who thinks that's a good idea?
The big German sausage.
Mate, honestly,
just
why?
No,
like,
just don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. So, like, I think, we definitely want to make sure the appointment has good quality. Again, a lot of the chat are quite convinced, and I think there's probably enough out there to suggest that Rodgers is probably relatively imminent. But, like, who knows? Like, who really knows, really? Because it's hard to know all these things. We're getting, there's a wee bit of mixed emotions on the strength and the quality of some of the players we're discussing in terms of their transfer prospects. One thing I want to just kind of put into the conversation here at this point is like what you've got to think about as well for like any of these Moneyball or like big money teams that might come and scout our players to buy them, is what happens first is they see some highlights or they see some good stats pop out and then they send some people over to come and watch the games. And like we're all talking about, the last like maybe 8 games or something like that were not that great to watch. Like we're talking about O'Reilly and, I don't mind. I'm saying he's not done enough to get a big transfer this season. I'm not saying he's been that great this year, but I do think he is brilliant, So I'm kind of like SS here. I'll abbreviate your name. I'm kind of on the same page as you here, but I think O'Reilly is really good. He's just not been great this year. And with Jota, I think if you're a team looking to buy a Jota, right, an attacking guy on the wing that can create magic, score, all the stuff we're talking about, you want to see him. And we've spoken about this kind of before, but you want to see him win matches. You want to see him pick up the ball and beat 3 guys and win the game, like once or twice, like on command almost, because that's what the guys that play that position at the higher level could do if they played for Celtic and do at the level they're at, so it's about demonstrating as well, like those kind of things that those teams want to see when they come and see you, because as we know with football, like Kieran Tierney was like the 6th choice left back and then somebody just, that's how football works. The scout comes and sees you on the wrong day. The transfer doesn't happen, for example.
We were also pretty
I don't think enough of the squad has been that. Sorry, mate, I'll just finish this. But I don't think they've been that, like 9 out of 10 enough where somebody would go, oh, let's pay 12 million, 18 million, 25 million, whatever, for whoever.
Yeah. I mean, Kyogo scored a lot of goals, so that's always going to go for him, and obviously he wouldn't have many penalties and stuff. But what I was saying, sorry to interrupt you, is
great point.
Champions League. I mean, we're pretty poor in Champions League, so Jota obviously get the goal in the Bernabeu, where people really paying much attention to that type of stuff. But like, I think if you'd have bashed a few teams up in the Champions League, then that would have probably, exposure-wise, people will be looking at that and going, Celtic are an exciting sort of European team type thing. We never even get third, so we never get a chance to drop down to Europa and maybe sort of find the levels. I don't want to sound defeatist, but in terms of this squad we've got just now, obviously, and you're talking about playing against Real Madrid and everything, we get caught a wee bit short. But I mean, like, maybe we will get away with it, but I do feel as if there's guys there. I mean, I think Hatate's one of those guys where he could go down and he could play in a better league and he could actually improve because his profile, his age, didn't play much in Japan before he actually moved over. He's got massive potential, so I think he's a guy that Ange actually could buy. Whereas if you're looking at guys like Starfelt and Vickers and stuff like that, we think they're decent defenders, obviously for our level, and they've got a great domestic record. But it's no type of guys that you're going to be looking to get into the top 4 in England with, probably. And then at the other end with Kyogo, I think it's just goal scorers are hard to come by. But then I know it's completely off the beat, but Van Veen going to Groningen, like I was thinking he would get a half decent move, because you think guys that score that amount of goals, somebody will
He's on a fat pay packet.
Aye, but Groningen.
Do you know what I think that screams out to me? But Groningen are so convinced that the SPFL is at the same level as Eredivisie 2 or whatever it's called. So they're thinking we're buying the best guy at this level, guaranteed. Like he'll do 60 every week.
And they want to come up. I mean,
and they just want to go right back up. So,
he's a weird guy though as well, because he when you look through, he was playing like League 1 or League 2 or something in England, and he never really had any obvious goal scoring stats. So sometimes these guys have a brilliant season, they scored 25 goals or whatever, and you say, well, you can see why he's done that, because he was younger and he scored 15 goals in a good league or whatever. You look through and he's hardly scoring any goals at all, and then he just come alive. But anyway, I thought with the season he had, and because he scored against Celtic and stuff as well, he wasn't just scoring against the poor teams. He scored at Parkhead, and he created the history with 8 or 9 games in a row, or whatever he scored, or whatever, 10 games in a row. He just kept scoring goals. Every week he came up, Motherwell, Van Veen, you just knew he was going to score. So that's a surprising move, but it shows you sometimes we think maybe we're just not realistic about the level of the regard for our league in other countries and all that type of stuff, because I know Van Veen's no young or whatever, but with the amount of goals he scored, you would have thought maybe an English Championship team or something would have taken a chance on him for £1 million or whatever, and easily pay him £10,000 a week, and doesn't really seem as if anybody was interested. So that's an interesting one. But if it means that Celtic keep this team together, we've had 2 years have been really successful, so that's good, right?
It's similar Van Veen situation is kind of Siegrist. Siegrist was unattached at Dundee United and was on, in football terms, a pittance, and he accepted also a big money deal. Goalkeeper, slightly situation and all the rest of it. But we've got the question here from Jimmy about the goalkeeper situation, right? Let's just say it is Rodgers. Does Rodgers keep Joe Hart? I say yes.
Well, I mean, he's under contract, but I'm a Siegrist fan. I always liked him at Dundee United. I thought he had a few stormers against Celtic and Rangers, and I thought that actually, he could do pretty well. So it depends what the plan is there. We've got the money to spend, but I think goalkeeper is a hard position to actually cover. So look at, for example, Burnley. So Muric brought them up, and now they've been linked with Verbruggen, and they want to pay 15 million for him. People are going, Muric got him up. But, they want to kind of move on, and they were trying to buy Verbruggen first, and there's no many good young players about, or guys that are comfortable on the ball. So we look at Joe Hart and say how sometimes he's a wee bit of a bomb scare on the ball and stuff like that. But to get somebody that's really good and also good on the ball is quite rare. I think the problem with Hart is he's just looking a wee bit immobile, shots from outside the box and everything, and he's turning like a cross-channel ferry. It's that type of stuff where he's slow at getting down and stuff. You're thinking, oh, hang on, you need to do a wee bit better than that. So, I mean, I think most likely we'll still have Hart, but I wouldn't be too upset if Siegrist got a chance, to be honest. I think he deserves a chance, even if it's maybe Hart starts the season, Siegrist plays all the cup games or whatever, excluding the Champions League or whatever, and, it's just that kind of, you create that competition, keep the pressure on Hart, because at the end of the season he was looking a bit complacent to me. He was just kind of, was it the game we drew 2 each? Oh, nearly get beat. St Mirren. First goal. We were at a game, really. And he just looked quite clumsy going down to try and save it and stuff. So I don't think what's that?
Kasper Schmeichel. I don't know if he gets on. I don't know if he gets on with Brendan Rodgers, but does that know why he left Leicester?
Well, he left Leicester, didn't he? That's a weird. I thought that was weird when he left, because I thought he was still doing pretty well at that level, and then they had that kind of spell where we need to buy a goalkeeper, and so I'm like, actually, it's Schmeichel go. But anyway, it's all things that change from that point of view. But yeah, Rodgers might come in and just say to Joe Hart, if you can find yourself in our club, we're quite happy to move you on. But I think the problem is he is a kind of senior player, and also he'll be on a good wage there and stuff. So it's not quite as easy as just actually trying to move him on. Joe Hart isn't a great shot stopper anymore, nor as good with his feet. So I mean, if you can get somebody in who's who's obviously younger. But I think when people talk about bringing in a younger goalkeeper, Sigrist is a lot younger. I mean, I think he's good enough to be the Celtic goalkeeper. I wouldn't be upset if Rodgers come in and said, we're going to give this guy his chance and then just put Hart on the bench. I wouldn't be upset about it. I wouldn't be upset if we bought another goalkeeper either, but I don't think we actually do need to buy another goalkeeper. I think we need to keep the pressure on Hart and maybe even give Sigrist a chance.
Yeah. There's a lot of shout. There was one shout here from Paul, quite a big one for Kel Roos as well, who had a pretty good season as well.
Really good, isn't he?
But if we've got Sigrist, why do we need Roos? It's basically the same situation, but it's the best keeper in the division, you know. Like,
I
think
don't think he's any. Well, I mean, he finished the season really well, right? Didn't he? I mean, Aberdeen tightened up a lot, but he was pretty impressive at the end of the season, and he was in the team of the year for goalkeeper. And you think with Joe Hart, like how much Celtic won the league by, like not being in the team of the year, being the goalkeeper is probably a wee bit embarrassing. Anyway, I mean, Roos was excellent, so I wouldn't be that upset. It's Sigrist, not Sigrist. Sorry, Hendo, Sigrist. I wouldn't be that upset if Sigrist get a chance. But I don't think it's. I just think Hart's not really on good form at the moment. I just don't think he's really been playing well. But I think form can change as well.
Yeah, I kind of like to think so, but I think for Champions League, that's high altitude. You know, that's when the strength of everything really does get tested to the max. And I think as soon as you put them into that context, when you're thinking about us for next season, quickly you do think maybe just buy somebody.
We're playing against Real Madrid, and you're Courtois saving penalties against you, or you get a chance, and he's pulling saves right out his backside, and obviously he does that against everybody, right? The guy is absolutely brilliant, probably the best goalkeeper in the world. But I think it's a position where we can improve. So if we get the right guy, but there's no point spending 5 or 6 million again and getting another Barkas in or whatever. That's not going to make us any better than what we've got just now. And Sigrist was a free, but I think Sigrist is a good shot stopper. And for Celtic's point of view, maybe you need somebody there that's just as a really good shot stopper that can do all the basics and just do what they're called on when you've got something against you. Like there's a shout for Fraser Forster. I mean, that guy won you a cup final single-handedly. I mean, he was brilliant. So yeah, if we could get somebody like that would be good. Do we think Jota stays?
I think so, personally. But I think similar to Tati, someone needs to know, we're going to go buy Jota from Celtic, we're going to spend 22 million on him, or whatever the fee would be, So I'm not sure he's done enough for somebody from it. Again, we know how good he is because we see him close quarters and we kind of know what he's all about. But when you're outside of it, it's maybe not always the same to levels of conviction some of these scouts and clubs might have.
Here's a shout for Nick Hodge. He's a great goalkeeper. He would be a brilliant signing. But the Sparta managers went to Ajax, which is interesting. So they brought Rulli, so they really need to bring in our goalkeeper. But he's come up from NAC then to Sparta, saved a penalty in the playoff, getting them into the final playoff games. He looks a good big goalkeeper, and he's a guy who can actually save a shot. So maybe that's a step forward. But aye.
Big Marsh, no chance. Well, the giveaway we did last week, the way you entered that, McBride, McGawk, as you'll probably remember, is that we asked people to comment with a timestamp on the stream after they watched it live and just, let us know thoughts and feelings and all that good stuff. So if you've watched this after we've been live, feel free to do the same, obviously, and we'll be in there interacting. Now, I've been having a wee quick sconce over who all entered last week and everything, McBride. Am I right in saying we had 8 cards to give away?
I think we did, I sent you 2 seconds.
Now, one thing I've got right is on the page where I view the comments, all the comments are in a kind of semi-random order, right? So what I was going to do is just go through the top 8 as they come, because it's quite a hard thing to do randomly.
Why don't tell me who you've picked, but you just pick out a name, and then what I'll do is I'll tell you, and you write it down. I'll tell you I'll tell them who you've got. So I'll just give you. Let me see. Try to get them back. Yeah. So you just
How
pick
much
out a
are we
name.
going to get? By the way, Albert Ajeti is in this picture somewhere as well, by the way.
Is he? How did I manage
Oh, he's
that?
back. Strumgrat's only selling him.
I do that.
Right,
so
okay.
what do you pick out a name, you write it down, you say, right, I've got the name, and then I'll tell you who they've won.
Right, okay, cool. I'm going to try and find names that I've not seen on the channel before, right? I'm going to do it randomly. So they're all in a random order, and I'm now scrolling randomly up and down all over the place, right? Because I've seen people where they are and stuff, and that's now going to... So anyway, there we go. And on this page, the only one with an entry we've got is... Okay, I've got their name, okay?
Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, magic. Now, the comment, can I put it on screen? I probably can, but I'll need to magnify it. There we go. That should do it. Right, 2 seconds. I can put it on screen now, the comment that came in. Share screen. Comments tab. Bang. Should have it. There we go. Sorted. That was James Pritchard. So he's an AFC Wimbledon fan, but he was enjoying getting stuck in. And he's got similar experience with Knutson in a video as well. So good. He's been loving the content, getting stuck in as well. So he's won.
Send over your Sorare name so that we can send you Wan-Bissaka.
I've got it there. It's in his comment. So I was just going to say to him,
right,
Wan-Bissaka, right? And we can clean this up afterwards, but I'll put Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, love it. That'll make no sense to him if he's not in the stream now. Right, cool. So we do have 8 then, right? So that's one given away. Let's go randomly again, up and down, up and down. Next one with a valid entry we've got is Colin King. Let me go and get that one up on magnified now.
You're not supposed to tell me. I've not told you what the card is.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay,
we'll give him Teddy Twema. I don't know that person, so we'll give him Teddy Twema. That's a good one,
Teddy Twema. His comment was about... 2 seconds, I'll tell you his comment as well, because the comments are interesting. Just because it's a previous stream, I can't put it on the screen the same way, obviously, as the guys that are in the live chat. But he was interacting around Jesse Marsh and talking about defensive transition, which is the buzzword if you do want to push Jesse Marsh as a managerial candidate as well. We need an underground laboratory to develop a new super player faster. Love that. I'll put that comment on screen. Right, awesome. So we've given away 2 cards, a Teddy Twema, by the way, and an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, cards that are very, very useful in Sorare Global Fantasy Football. Now, to claim the card, if these guys have got Sorare managers' names in their thing, but if you want to play Sorare for next season, you'll actually get a free card thanks to Celtic here. There's a link in the description of the live stream now, wherever you're watching this. And if you click on that and sign up directly, you'll get a free limited card once you've bought 5 from the market. You've got 90 days to do that. The cards can cost 10p. Doesn't matter. You'll get a free one. Everyone gets a free one when you click on the link. It's the best way to sign up. Supports the channel, Celtic fans, Celtic channels, and all that good stuff. And then we do some giveaways once in a while with the generosity of the Scottish Whale here, McBride. So the next one, I've got my next one, right?
So we'll go George Long, Millwall goalkeeper.
Nice. And then I'll just reveal it on screen. That's what I'll do. Love it. And it was Will X10. And his Sorare name is Tomato 232. So that's good. All there and going. And that was, who was it he won?
George Long, Millwall goalkeeper.
George Long. Awesome. Oh, yeah. The Northern Ireland guy, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Okay, cool. Get through this decent. And then we'll come up with some comments and stuff once we finish the giveaway, and then we'll round everyone off for the night and let them go and open up some rewards, because I know McBride will be itching to do that. Okay, cool. Got the next one?
We'll go Juan Bernat, PSG.
Oh, nice. Never seen that. I don't remember this name anyway. Alexander Pauly. So great stream, getting into it as well, talking about the coaching situation that we were chatting over as well, which was great to see. And a Bernat is nice, because Bernat, if PSG do have a clear out under a Nagelsmann or something like that, he could go somewhere and be a main guy. Or if Nagelsmann keeps him, Nagelsmann could play him because he's a technical player.
Injury, didn't he? And he was just come back from injury, but he is a class player, so.
Yeah, he's definitely good. Right, okay, up and down we go. Where we'll stop, no one knows. And on the page, who do we have that qualifies with a name and a timestamp? Or I think we're going either or, actually, because of the way we're doing this. Okay, cool. I've got this is a good comment. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I've got the Sorare name on it anyway. And right, okay, cool. So I've got the winner.
Go Nicholas Madsen, plays for Westerlo, isn't it? Yeah.
Nice. And it was Jay Riva, and they gave us little emoji faces for everyone's expressions during the stream. I thought that was a funny one. His Sorare name is there as well. And I hate to ask again, McBride, can you just confirm that card for me once again?
Nicholas Madsen.
Nicholas Madsen.
Madsen.
Set piece taker, little Danish wonder kid. Yep. Yeah. Under 23 capable. Very well thought of card. Definitely useful next season. And that's the benefit of playing Sorare as well, is you kind of like get to know some players in that, which is quite cool. And then if we get linked to them or they move to us, unfortunately, you mentioned earlier in the stream, home doesn't have a card, but maybe we get something like, you never know. Okay, cool. I have got my next one. And it's not a name I'm too familiar with again, which is nice.
Zach McGraw. So that's the guy who plays for Portland Timbers.
Oh, I had it on screen there. Sorry. Zach McGraw. Okay, cool. That's Camo. What's that?
Sorted.
I've lost the comment now. Sorry, wait 2 seconds.
Oh, you lost the comment.
Zach McGraw. I need just to tell them. That's Zach McGraw. Zach. How many cards are we down to now?
Can't remember. So we've got, one. I think we've got 2 to give away, I think.
Awesome. So the penultimate one, up and down we go, is have you got a name or a timestamp in this big comment? Oh, no, that was a good one as well. The next one down. No. Next one down. No. Next one down. Nope. Oh, right, I'll just go random again. No one around there has got a timestamp or a name. And the next one we've got. There we go. Got my next one.
Good stuff. Gaspar Campos. Gaspar Campos plays with Burgos, La Liga 2.
That was Jay Blaze. Congratulations,
well, so it's good.
Congratulations, Jay Blaze. Right, let's go. The last one, mate. The final winner. Up and down we go. And then somebody. Oh, no. You've won already. Oh, there we go.
The winner is Fede Vico, and he plays somewhere in Spain. I've no idea what the club is. I'm trying to get it up just now. He plays for Leganes. Fede Vico.
I have to spell that right.
Money in that mad, crazy week.
There's been I'm just going to catch up with the comments now, but congratulations to all the winners. Thanks a lot for taking part in the giveaway last week. And for anyone that took part in the weekend game week for Sorare, it is trophy day, so that's when rewards and money gets paid out and all that good stuff. So we'll have a wee kind of catch up with the chat, and then that will be all she wrote for tonight, guys. It's been emotional. It's been good fun. A goal scoring keeper should be a must. Yeah, that would be great if we could get a Chevrolet or something like that. But
you can take free kicks.
But yeah, I think we're getting quite. Yeah, we're dreaming a wee bit for thinking about buying Bono from Seville. I think.
James Pritchard won the Wan-Bissaka. Well done, James. Enjoy him.
Love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of players out there to be scoping it, and we're not really going to get any concrete movement. It doesn't feel like until the manager thing is done. So I hope these kind of reportings and rumours that we've had today are just a bit, let's say creative license. I hope that Leeds have not taken Rodgers' attention. I hope Rodgers isn't entertaining that. I hope it's all going to get done. I hope Celtic aren't taking their time. I hope this gets done rapid, and we can just move forward with the. We're in such a good position now. Let's not squander it, McBride.
I agree. Let's just say we're buying this guy home. If we're still doing the recruitment, we're still being proactive. Get the goalie and get the goalie. We're talking about goalies. Get the coach in. Get things rolling again. Make sure we're up to speed for the season starting. We go again.
Yeah,
unprecedented success. Let's keep winning. That's what we want.
Hail, hail, everyone. Enjoy the weather. Stay out of trouble. And don't subscribe, share, and retweet, and all that good stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
See you guys.
Hail, hail.
Good night.